Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smart Life Club. I'm Vickie Helm, and this is the Coffee Break Show. Today is Wednesday Welcome, and our guest is Mira Rubin, and she is so exciting. I'm so excited. I can't wait to be here. So let me just say this to you. If you're new here, do me a favor, put your name down below so that I can see you, know you, and get to be with you. We have conversations and we get to talk to people, and today we're going to be talking to Mira Rubin. You do not want to miss out. If you're watching this afterwards, thank you for watching this afterwards. Do me a favor, put hashtag replay in the link below right there so that we know you're on with us. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. This is YouTube Live. We're new with this. Do me a favor and hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. If you want to do the Wednesday welcomes, do me a favor and also hit the bell notification, and it will show you when we go live. We do these shows live. We don't edit anything because this gives us the most pure conversation with our expert today. And I want to welcome the amazing Mira Rubin.
I'm speechless, Vickie. I guess not the greatest way to start out an interview, right?
I know. I'm like, here we go. Let me give an introduction for you, because I want everyone to know why you're on the show with me. I want people to know why I've chosen you to be with us today. And so Mira and I have been friends for a long time. And one of the greatest conversations we have all the time is we have conversations about the earth and the mission to keep it clean, and the ability to keep it safe and how we can build a world that works. We also talk about purpose and mission and things like that. And we're such good friends there. And I kept thinking, what's the one word that would describe Mira? What's the one word? And I came up with sacred and sacredness.
Oh, wow.
And to me, I was like, somebody who practiced sacredness. I see you all coming on board. Do me a favor, put your name down below so that we can say hi. Good morning, Brandon. Let's see. Hello, Mira, Vickie, and Robin. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you on board, Brandon. Thank you for being here. Karen, hi, everyone. Mira's in the house. That's right. She is. She's in the house. And I know it's a lot of you. We are going to have fun today. So in that word, what is it when you live a life that is sacred? This is such an incredible conversation to have with somebody who I believe really practices that living in that sacred, that living in that divine, that living in purpose. It's a place that everybody wants to get to, but sometimes we don't always know how to get there or what are the secrets to being in that kind of purpose and fulfillment. And so when I brought Mira on, I know that I have routine questions that I ask everyone, but I keep chucking them out the window. I want the moment to display what it wants to be. And there's a bunch of people coming on. Hey, Barb Tomlin, nice to see you. So far, it's not the live in the Georupt on my end in the group. Good morning, Mira. Are we not on the group page? Is that what's going on here? I see. Are we not live on the other pages? Somebody give me a reply back. Hang on a second. We might have to edit this. Let's see, save changes. Okay. So we are now. Thank you. So we're going live on all channels. We have to check the live. This is what happens when you go live. Live is live. It is what it is. We are now. Thank you. So it just took a longer time to get through all the channels. So we're live on multiple channels. So that way it gets a little bit ruckus to get through there. Thank you. No sharing to page now. Thank you. So I wonder why we're having a little technical difficulty this morning. And I want to make sure that the pages are live on the group. Are we live in the group? Anyone, please? Somebody tell me that we're live in the group. And Mira, thank you for being here through this and staying through the confusion of this morning. I just want to also welcome you and ask you, tell me a little bit about your story. about how you got to where you were right now, where you are right now, and how you are living in such purpose consistently.
Well, I've been a personal transformation and development person from the time I had an enlightenment experience when I was 15. And at that age, or at that time, that changed my life and really set the trajectory for my entire life. And I've been really looking to re-access that state throughout my life. And so I spent years and years in personal growth and transformation, and taking all kinds of courses and getting all kinds of trainings. And I've developed a healing modality that's very, very powerful. But the thing that put me where I am now is a convergence of a couple events. One was in 2017, November, I stepped into my purpose, and it gave me my life. So through my life, truly, my life was characterized by very deep depression. Very deep depression. I was never medicated, but I could have been easily. And I thought about dying when I'd go to bed at night and when I'd wake up in the morning. And there were times when I thought I would die because nobody could live and be as unhappy as I was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was extreme. So that's also driven me to the personal development work. But the thing that was the underlying pain point for me was feeling rudderless, not just with a lack of direction, but with a lack of a clear purpose and a reason to be here that made a difference in the face of all that we see in the world that is less than what we would desire. And so I stepped into my purpose and actually took ownership of this very big vision, which was something that I call Project Eco Park. And the vision is something that emerged from dreams of my childhood that I recognized eventually. But what it is a World's Fair of sorts for sustainability, and a place that people could go and learn and discover and explore and be awed. And anyway, from that has evolved my greater purpose, which is to mainstream sustainable practices globally. That's where my heart is. And yes. And one of the biggest things about sustainability, one of the foundations of sustainability is consciousness. Because if we don't elevate our consciousness, we're not going to be able to create change. So there are there's a matrix of things going on here, but the bottom line is that discovering my purpose gave me my life. It gave me resilience that I never imagined I would have. It let me fall down and get back up again without being paralyzed by the shame that I would feel if it were about me. Because it's not about me, it's about something bigger. I can move forward, I can stumble forward, I can fail forward, I can get up again. And recognizing that, I recognize how life affirming and how critically essential people knowing what their purpose is, knowing they make a difference, being able to express themselves in the world is the most important thing, and now more than ever. And I heard you say the very same thing just the other day on your podcast.
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting. First off, I want to tell you the truth. I think my heart melted at your bravery and your courage. I mean, it's like there's some point where you make a choice in your life and you were like, I wasn't going to medicate the pain, that's very courageous. It's super brave. And it made my heart super tender. I was like, it's so melted right now that my heart is up in my throat. Like that kind of courage. That kind of courage is like needle in a haystack. It's a beautiful aspect of you that just, I don't know, maybe it's reflected, but it melted my heart. The other thing is the courage to grow into purposefulness, and the aspect that you said, something with consciousness, that is so important. If we don't grow in consciousness, then we're not going to be able to make the changes. And that to me is key right now. If I said, what is my purpose? It's allowing those people who help others grow in consciousness have a voice, have a way, those that serve others, because somehow that consciousness level that we are at has to evolve, or I feel like it's the choice is evolve or die. It's like evolve or die. And we're at that critical place. And it's not an easy conversation to have with people. They don't know what that means, or they don't know, what does it mean to have purpose? And I know a lot of time, for me, I got confused at first, and I kept looking outside of myself for my purpose. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Like it was an Easter egg hunt. And as soon as I found my Easter egg that was mine, then I'd be okay. Then I'd have something. And what ended up happening for me was that I realized that your purpose isn't out there. It's very much in here. And I want to go there in a minute, because everybody's trying to say hello here. And I just want to go over here and connect with everybody. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Karen. Hey, Barb. Barb says depression is so deceiving. Yes, it is. Hard to detect for ourselves as well as for others. Yes. Brandon, hello, buddy. I'm so glad you're on. Barb, too true. Depression sneaks up on you. It is a chemical problem, not just feeling sad. Yes. Stephen says, I understand. There was at that point in my life, I just rediscovered myself. Stop typing and listen. Thank you. Stephen, that is so good. Thank you, my loves. Let's see. Watch party going on live in the group now. Thank you very much, Karen. Evolve or die. That can be a tricky thing to determine. Some people spend their whole lives looking for their purpose, not understanding that they had been living it all along. Yes, we're going to take that next step into that conversation. Good morning, Lori. I went through something very similar and experienced a huge depression before turning things around in my life, which eventually led to me leaving my corporate job at IBM to pursue my passion and talents on a more creative and personal level. Sometimes we have to hit our rock bottom to make the most positive changes in our lives for the greater good of all. Yes, that is so true. And I would like to go back and ask you, Mira, how do you discern the difference between purpose and where it comes from on your inside versus trying to look outside for purpose, like an Easter egg hunt? How do we find within us, where does our purpose begin? How do we express it? How do we find it?
So I think it is a treasure hunt, but it's an inner treasure hunt mostly. So I actually put together a little ebook that is available. It's called 5 Keys. What is it? Your Inner Success Blueprint. Yep. 5 Keys to Discovering What You Were Born to Do. And it is a compilation of 5 questions, essentially, that led me to discovery of my purpose. And one of the places to look, and I was actually very surprised to realize after years and years and years of personal transformation work, to realize that in so much of this work, I had learned about how to change limiting beliefs. I had learned about how to reframe situations and deal with emotional trauma and things like that. But I hadn't really learned who I was and what made me tick, like what made me unique. And that's really what we need to do to explore our own purpose. So one of the things to look at is, what are your values? Because one of the biggest sources of misery, I think, for people in the world is that they're living out of alignment with their values.
Yes. Yes.
And
Such a strong.
we don't even consciously know what our values are.
Yes.
So there's this underlying pain that we can't identify, but it's persistent and it's deep in our soul because we are defying our own nature.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
That I want to go back to that because that's such a powerful thing. I believe in my early years that in our early years, we're taught to ignore the signals of that's coming out. And then we're living kind of in dissonance. This doesn't agree with us. This doesn't feel right, but I guess I'm supposed to. And then to me, that's how the war of the soul and the mind begin, because the soul knows it definitely says, this is what you are, but it's not acceptable in this world. So your mind comes on and says, I'm an artist. And then, but you're going to college to be an attorney, but, and that split walks with us until we go in there and meet it and say, this is my values. This is who I am, and enjoy that aspect of us. That is such a key thing. What's the next step after once you get in there and you assess your values and you want to say, okay, this is my values. This is really what I want purpose to look like for me. How does that happen for you? What do you do next?
So values are something that apply in any arena of our lives, not just purpose. So if we're looking at a career possibility or a relationship, or we're starting a business, establishing a clarity around your values is an essential thing, because it offers a foil through which you can make decisions through hiring and firing decisions, or decisions about what direction to take in life. It's not going to give you your purpose per se, but it's an important factor. And there are a number of other important factors. One important factor is what lights you up.
Yes.
Like by really looking at your life and the things that you do in your life and what really energizes you, it'll be a revelation for so many people. It's like, well, I have all these, what really lights me up and has always lit me up is these kind of conversations.
Yes.
Always. Conversations around consciousness, understanding what's the nature of being, what are we doing here, how does this all work, how do we elevate ourselves in this context, what can we create, what's possible. Those are my hot buttons. I love those conversations. And another thing to look at is in your life, what were the things as a kid that you did just naturally, innately? So I used to love to play school. I loved being a teacher, and it turns out it took me till I was 40 to figure out, oh, I'm a teacher, but my kid self knew.
Yeah. It's amazing how I was just realizing that, because when you're younger, don't we always love to figure out what kind of superhero we are? We naturally go to that. And as you were saying that, I had an epiphany that I want to share with you. When I was a little kid, I used to play submarine, and I would flip my bike over, and that became my big wheel. I was always out at sea, and I was always in the water, in my submarine, in my little mind, in my little imagination. And my bucket list is to circumnavigate the world on a yacht. And I just put together, when you said that, I was like, wow, that's fundamentally core. It's so easy. So easy. And I want to talk about, because I want your opinion on this. I think there is purpose, but I feel purposeful. Like I believe I have more than one purpose, and that my actual purpose in life is to surrender to the moment and be the vessel for whatever purpose in the moment, whatever that is, to participate in it, to help it grow, help it this. But I feel multi-purposed. I don't feel like I have one single purpose. And for me, growing into surrender to surrendering to the moment and being aware and mindful is my purpose in that moment. And then my skill sets help me be purposeful. Do you get what I'm saying?
I sure do. And I love the distinction. In my coaching practice, I work with people creating a vision and mission and connecting with their purpose. And one of the things that we do is to make your vision so big that it can encompass any vast array of expressions. So for me, you know, it's interesting. I say my mission is to mainstream sustainability practices globally, but my personal mission, I guess, for my life is to awaken.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hearing you say. And that within the context of that, everything falls under that umbrella.
Thank you for seeing that. I feel more clear on that now. That is my purpose, to be that example of wakefulness in the world. Wow, that's such a powerful feeling I have over myself. It's like I'm feeling myself become grounded. I'm feeling myself like, yes, that is for me. That is. And so isn't that interesting when we understand why we're our inner selves and we understand what our mission, and I want to go over to this side here because people are talking a mile a minute. You guys, if you have any questions for her, put them out there. We're talking and I'll be with you in a second. But I want to express that I could feel myself drop in more as I allowed myself to feel my purposefulness. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting because when I hit my feet hit the floor in the morning and I work or walk all day, I feel connected to the divine moment to moment every single day. And that has given me such a rich quality of life, such an intensely rich quality of life. And it's like this enriching feeling. Remember when you just said, I love to talk about conversations about consciousness. I love to talk about this. I feel then that my life has meaning and it's so enriched when I'm in that place. And the second you said that, I could feel myself just drop in. And I was like, oh, yes, that feels so good. And it feels so awake. And it kind of removes any painful anything.
It certainly has the potential to do that. And if it doesn't remove it, it allows you to expand to include it. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about expanding to include, because as Westerners, this is a revelation that I've had. I've always had a challenge with meditations that are telling me, let go, let go, let go. Right. And I had a revelation just saying, wait a second, we're Westerners. This is global, so maybe you're not. So have patience with us. But as Westerners, we're about accumulating. We're about more, right?
Yeah.
And so what I realized is instead of letting go of my feelings that I want to release or whatever, how about expanding to include them?
Yes.
And when I expand to include my fear or my shame or my sorrow or my joy, or I'm none of those things, I am bigger than all of those things. And what happens is that I expand to include the universe.
Yeah. I can really feel that in my heart. That what if you just let all of it be all in the container?
Because it is.
That's love. It is. It's accepting what is in that moment. It's beautiful. You guys, I'm going to go to you right now and catch up with you. I'm going to talk fast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, Lori. Thank goodness you did form a personal, selfish standpoint. It's great having you here in our close universe. Yes. Brandon says, depression can also be a way to help others not go through something similar to what we went through. Yes, it is. Robin says, and you have been a great example of how to move beyond that. You have been vulnerable and shared your journey with us. Thank you for that, Brandon. That's beautiful. Wow, that's so true. Our life is an inner treasure. This is Brandon. Oh, and by the way, I loved that you used treasure hunt instead of Easter egg hunt. I was like, treasure hunt. I'm going to steal that from you, the treasure hunt. Oh, God, that's beautiful. Our life is an inner treasure hunt that we need to dig up what we went through in an attempt to become a better person. Thank you, Brandon, for that. And the treasure hunt to me is always on the inside. Stephen, you know I love you. I got to talk to you right now. Let's see. Appreciate your point on values. It's our moral compass that will determine our destiny. Yes, I agree with that. Brandon says, came up with something to put on my bucket list from yesterday's conversation. I want to go on a train, Pittsburgh, to a Steelers game. All right. That would be great. Yesterday we talked about bucket list items, and Brandon was like, I've never thought of a bucket list. So he wants to go to a Steelers game. Yes, that would be good. Brandon says connection plus self equal empowerment and purposefulness. Connection, self, and empowerment equal purposefulness. Yes, thank you for that. Barb shares, my awakening button turned on the first time I read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Love that book. Love all of those books by him. The Power of Now is very enriching, and the New Earth is very enriching. And you know what? This is it to me, and maybe you have a different opinion, but to me, what is happening in the world is forcing us to come and pay attention. Pay attention to your world and become more mindful. What's important to you? And I wanna switch to a little bit of the sustainability conversation, because one of your passions is one of my passions, and I feel really strong about it. Like I get choked up or I get teary-eyed. I can barely talk about what is happening to the earth. And also the kind of guilt that I put myself through when I realized what I was doing, because my consciousness was so much on convenience and the ability to purchase in the moment. Just there's something that feels very powerful, feels unhealthily powerful about being led by desire in such a way that you're like, success means I get to do what I want, when I want, how I want, buy what I want, get what I want. Everything is about that versus having experiences. And I'm thankful for Robin for teaching me the difference between living a healthful life with good experiences versus a materialistic life. And I based my success on what I had, what I owned, how much money I made, everything else. And she got me, when we first met, we downsized. I think we had 4 homes. And, I could only live one in one at a time. And I had this mountain cabin that I was going to write books in and everything else. It was this cute little 1,400 square foot place. And then I had the Boulder life where, you had house after house after house. And we let all of that go, and it felt so relieving. But I realized the mind trap that I was in that allows us to really harm the earth, and sustainability has become my lifestyle, and I love it. And I would love it if you would share about your sustainability podcast, your sustainability future, what you're hoping to do, and how people can become involved in what you're doing as the sustainability future that you're building, a life that works. So would you tell us all about that?
Sure. I actually want to just back up a second to make a segue from consciousness to sustainability. So also, your definition of success, you've redefined it. You've redefined success. I think that one of the biggest lessons of being on the planet is to choose, to recognize that we have choice, in every moment. We have choice on how to respond to things. We have choice about what to do, what to value, what to believe. And so you're talking about success and the traditional material definitions of success, and more is better. There are certain assumptions that certainly in a Western culture we've adopted. More is better, money fixes everything, you know, my wants and needs are more important than somebody else's. It's competition, it's fierce out there. And I think the thing that is the transition, the consciousness transition to sustainability, is to recognize that we're all connected. And as soon as we start recognizing that we are part, a very, very small part of a very, very big organism that stretches around the planet and includes the planet, then from that paradigm, we can create new values, back to the values. And then my success is driven on how mindful I can be and how responsible I can be to my environment. And that includes people, animals, environment, the earth, all of it.
Yeah. There, I must admit, this was a big transformation for me, because I was the kind of person, I don't think I had a car that was over 3 years old. And I remember the conversation with my partner, who everybody knows is Robin, and the grace I felt afterwards when I looked at my consciousness, and I was like, wow, do I really want to bite into these stories? These stories aren't my stories. And when I say giving back to the earth, to me, that right now is the biggest pull I have. So in creating Back to the Earth, we made a smaller footprint. First thing we did, take care of how we operate in the world. I'm very big on planting fruit trees right now. It's especially fruit trees, because a 98 in my book, The Ultimate Freedom, which is behind us on the purple one, there was a guy who was 98 years old, and I was talking to him, and he was in front of his apple trees telling me that they were 100 years old, and he remembers when they were planted, you know, and they grew up in his house. And he said, if you want to leave a legacy in this world, plant an apple tree. It'll feed everything for 100 years.
That's beautiful.
And that stopped me. I was like, it feeds the deer, the birds, the people, everything, the ground, one apple tree. And so I think like everybody should have a fruit orchard or a food forest in the yard. That year we put up 3 community gardens in our place, because we grow organic food. And you know about where I live, so you know how we live there purposely for that reason. To make that small print. This is for that reason, very specific. And to me, the best gift that we can give to the earth is planting a tree. I mean, even if it's an evergreen or whatever, I like fruit trees, because it's magical. Every year, this beautiful being gives you fruit and food for everything. It's magical. Mira, I want to say that the sides, I know we're at there, but everybody is like rolling. Is it okay if we keep going on? And if so, I want to thank you. Good.
Yes.
Let's see. Barb says, my awakening button turned on the first time I read A New Earth. Thank you. We did get that one. Brandon says, shame and other negative feelings can either destroy us or empower us to do better. Ooh, I may want to go back there. Yes, I want to. That's key.
So this goes back to the and I do really want to talk about sustainability too, but I just want to
address the shame.
Yeah, this comment about shame and pain in life being a foundation for wisdom, or the foundation for the evolution of wisdom and the opportunity to give back because the pain that I've experienced in my life gives me a depth of awareness that I have moved through. I know how to move through that. I know it's possible to move through that. And in my coaching practice, I support people in transforming that. So you're right. I agree with Brandon 100%. Like, we have the choice to be victims or victors.
Yes.
And being a victim it disempowers ourselves
Mhm.
in the world. And what we can do, this is a transformative perspective, and that is, life is not happening to me. It's happening for me and through me.
That's right. That's the most powerful thing. It's happening for me and through me. And if we really allow that to become part of our inner values, what I know happens for me is that it helps me stay mindful. I become more explorative versus reactive. And I'm like, oh, here's something to explore. I don't have so many of those knee-jerk reactions. There's a part of us that is naturally curious. What is this trying to tell me or transform and show me? And that is the key right there that you just said. Thank you for that, Brandon. That shame thing, that was really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You
I want
know, Tony Robbins says that the quality of your life is dictated to a great degree by the questions you ask. And so when you encounter a tragedy, or you encounter a difficulty or a setback, or anything new, the question is, what's the opportunity in this?
yes, that's a beautiful question. What's the opportunity in this? I always say that I like yours better. I always say, I wonder what's here. I wonder what do you want me to know? What do you want me? But what opportunity is this? This is a beautiful question. A lot of times we're so convinced that there are good feelings and bad feelings that what if we just said they're feelings, and what's the opportunity here? That's
Exactly.
beautiful.
And the thing is that if sadness arises, allow the sadness to be there and ask it. It's a teacher. It is a teacher. It's an opportunity to see something, learn something, clear something, gain greater
Yes.
insight. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I want to go on. Hi, Barb. Thanks for coming back here again. Living a healthy life deters depression. So much of what we eat and do impacts our daily attitudes. Yes, we live in such intense toxicity right now. That's a big key for me, removing toxicity from the world. It's like removing plastic from the world.
I love
It's a
that you
big
said that. I
job.
want to talk about that as soon as
Yeah.
we get through some more.
Thank you. Good. Brandon said the knowledge of choice is extremely empowering. Yeah, it is. Thank you for sharing that. It is. The knowledge of having that choice, making that decision, is very empowering. Barb says, ooh, my autos have always represented energy. All have had names and and hard to part with if they behave themselves. Yeah, I got to tell you, I have the same thing now. I look at a vehicle, and the question I have is, how long can I have it? I don't need. I'm like Sam Walton in my mind now. When he first started, I have the same vehicle that I've had 200. It's like your ego dissolves when you find out that having stuff doesn't mean anything. Stuff is just a thing. And your state of consciousness, your state of joy, is all about your inner workings and not what you possess. That is such a fundamental, foundational change that is taking place in the world right now. And I think it is so important. I want to go to the plastic thing. I want to go to the world where we are talking about what you can do every single day to help that transformation begin, so we can begin to heal the planet
So
and ourselves.
can I give a shameless plug for
You
our?
go, girl.
Okay. So we have a podcast, myself and my partner, Scott Billy, my business partner, and it's called Sustainability Now. The URL is sustainabilitynow.global instead of .com. And you can find our podcasts on all the podcast platforms. We also just started a Patreon page. So
Hey, Karen, can you find that link somewhere and put it in the link down below so people can find the podcast and the Patreon page?
Thank you. We have the podcast is sustainabilitynow.global, but we have been supporting it as a passion project out of pocket, and now the pockets are empty, and we would love some support from our community. We want to grow the community, because the only way this is going to happen is if we do it together.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving us space for that plug. I appreciate it.
No worries. I think there is a part of me who wants to really be of service to those people who are of service. And when we get projects and things that are help everyone thrive and everyone feel better, those are the things that I love to support and I love to have on the show. It's so important because people like, I want to go back to what Barb said. We live in a lot of toxicity and cleaning the earth right now. And I don't care what side of the conversation you fall on. If you think, climate change is real or not, doesn't matter.
No, it does not matter.
Your house is dirty.
Your house is on fire.
Your
house is on fire.
Yeah, it's on fire. You need to come back and just take care of the house. It doesn't matter what part of the conversation doesn't matter. We're at, to me, an emergency point.
We are.
And everything in this thing that is happening right now is a result of the type of unbalanced life we've been living between manufacturing of desire and things and moving from inner peace to outer. It's gluttony to me. It's gluttony how much we want of, I got to have this and buy this and get this and have that. It feels gluttonous and it's also damaging.
It's also founded on a notion of disposability.
Yes.
And if we look at that, it's been pervasive on all levels of our culture, in the products we consume, the packaging we consume, the way that our businesses operate. People are disposable. It's just not okay. And so is this a good time to segue into some things?
Do it.
Okay,
go, girl.
Awesome. I just recently learned about a Greenpeace initiative. Greenpeace is targeting Target, which Target is an organization that cares about how people respond to them and cares about the planet. And they and everybody have lots of products in plastic containers marked recyclable that are not recyclable. So if you're interested in finding out, and by the way, recycling plastics is a sham, which I will talk about in just a minute. But it's a big hoax. It's a feel-good hoax, the recycling thing, to let us feel like we're making a difference. But so this, I'm really passionate about this. So I'm just gonna roll here. So less than 9% of all plastics get recycled.
Wow.
And what happens is the plastics that we put in recycling bins are often not recyclable at all. And they end up in incinerators or landfills or the ocean. And the only solution to the plastic crisis on the planet is stop using single-use plastics. That's the only solution. And meantime, what we can do is hold organizations accountable for refill and reuse. Start requesting it. So what can we do? We can go to greenpeace.com, look at their plastics pledge or their plastics initiative, which is actually to add little tags on things at Target saying this isn't recyclable.
Wow.
It's kind of interesting. Fantastic. Pretty interesting. And they have support things that you can download to support you in doing that, labels and such. The other thing is to start carrying your own bags. Ask your grocery stores what their sustainability plan is, what they're going to do to stop using single-use plastics. A co-op that I belong to is migrating to refill and reuse containers. So you pay extra for a deposit on the container. Like when I was a kid, we paid deposits on cans and bottles.
That's
and
right.
We need to go back to that. We need to go back to that nationally. And so talk to your organizations. When you stop buying plastics in prepared foods in plastic containers, people will find other solutions for it. So that's vote with your dollars. Find organizations that that are sustainable in their in their values, that sustainability is a primary value. Carry bags, carry containers with you so that when you go to a fast food place, you ask them to put the food in well, maybe not fast food. I don't know if they would do it, but I've been to restaurants where I've had them serve me in my container. They put the food in my container. I bring my own silver. I have my own container, and
fantastic.
There's no waste there, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're creating meetings and gatherings, don't use plastic. If you have to use paper, okay, but ideally, why not have washable utensils, washable plates and things? What else is really simple? I mean, those things are really simple. Carry your own water bottle. And you know what? We really need to know that everybody that thinks that they're being healthy by drinking water from plastic water bottles is poisoning themselves, because the water bottles off gas. At the very least, there are also micro particles of plastic in that water. So as that water is transported, before you ever get it, it goes through all kinds of temperature changes. The plastic leaches into the water. It's got all kinds of toxicity in that water then that you're drinking to be healthy. Plus, that plastic bottle that you drank from is going to be around for hundreds of years, or it's going to be incinerated and it's going to pollute further. So plastic bottles are not the solution. And our water is becoming less and less safe. Our water, we don't even realize this, but we have aging municipal systems, and the pipes are leaching all kinds of metals and other things into the water, not to mention pharmaceuticals that are polluting our water, as well as bacteria and parasites. So what you want to do is look for a really good water filter. And there's a water filter that we represent. It's called Purity, Puritii. Yeah. There's so much that we can do. Buy bulk food, then bring your own container.
Yeah.
So that way you're not using plastic containers or plastic bags. Carry, you can use waxed cotton that you can buy to wrap things in. Straws. So when you're at a restaurant, when you order a drink, please request no straw unless they have paper straws. More and more places are having paper straws. But just the amount of straws that are used and wasted is obscene. So bring a straw. There's all kinds of straw solutions. There's glass, there's silicone, there's metal, there's bamboo.
Yeah. I'm like, when I'm listening to you, I'm like, Robin, this is your soulmate. This is everything we do in our household. And it's very, the bamboo straw, Robin uses over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Exactly.
But and the bags and the things that you're talking about is all very strict in our household. We really are made it as much as possible, as small as this. I really want to go over this and emphasize what she is saying, because the truth is you can ignore that your house is on fire. And the house right now is getting to the point where the fire damage may not be repairable in our generation. And we have to come up with solutions where we stop ourselves from throwing gas on the fire. And that the issue that we have is that we keep throwing gas on the fire because it's convenient. And it's convenient to have paper plates. It's convenient to have things like that. And when she was just talking about, have plates that you can just wash and reuse. And I think every single day, yes, that's there. And in my house, we have made going out to eat very small. We do a lot of at home cooking simply because you do so much damage going out to eat. Your heart feels like, oh, it's a fun time. I'm going to meet my friends and blah, blah, blah. And in our house, we've switched that. We don't go out. We have a dinner party, because when we have a dinner party at home, I can make all of this food and I can put it all on plates and glassware that I don't have to throw out. I just simply put it in the dishwasher and we use it. That night, I enjoy having dinner parties. And so there are simple things where you don't have to lose those things that make you feel fun, like, girlfriend, let's have lunch. Let's have lunch at my house. Just that simple thing right there. Your thoughts on the state of our world right now, and i.e., I'm going to poke a little bit at the coronavirus, because what I've noticed about the coronavirus is it's scary and all that, but they've landed all the planes and flights have gone down, and they're noticing how China's air is getting cleaner because of this lockdown. And it's an interesting thing. What if this virus was actually a way where we stopped and looked at our healthcare systems or our manufacturing systems differently? What if, I mean, it's not a great thing to have happen, but thoughts on that? What's your perspective of it?
Well, I think we get to choose whether we're going to succumb to the fear of it. But I love that you're talking about what's the opportunity. And I want to, again, do another little plug here. Two things, actually, I want to talk about. We just are in the beginning of a collaboration with REI, the sporting goods store.
Yeah.
They're a co-op. They have 18 million members. And we have we just did our very first live audience recorded podcast at REI. And our guest was Maya Van Rossum. Now, this is a little bit of a segue. It's a little bit off track here, but I just want people to be aware of this. Maya Van Rossum is championing something that is really going to be a new environmental revolution, and it's called the Green Amendment Movement.
Ooh.
And only 2 states right now, Pennsylvania and Montana, have a Green Amendment. And what that is in the state Bill of Rights, as an inalienable right, is the right to clean water, clean air, and a healthy environment for current and future generations. Now, the beauty of that amendment in the Bill of Rights is that it empowers the people to challenge the government whenever it passes a law or permits some kind of project that violates that inalienable right. Beautiful. And so it's beautiful. And let me think what it is. Oh boy, now I'm trying to remember her website. If you search the Green Amendment or Maya Van Rossum, you will find the website that is all about how to get this initiated in your state. It's important that it be done properly, so don't go off uninformed. This organization is there to assist you. The Delaware River Keepers Network is part of this. That Maya is the Delaware River Keeper. So that's a really important initiative. You were asking what we can do.
Yeah.
That support and champion the addition to the Bill of Rights, the inalienable right to clean water, clean air, and a healthful environment. When you think about it, it's like, but of course, what do you mean? Why is that not there? And it isn't. And as we shift that, it will shift everything.
Beautiful. That's the start.
That's
Grassroots.
a start.
Let's do it.
Yes. And so that's the first one. And the other one is that on June 24th, which is a Wednesday, if you're in the Philadelphia area, we will be doing another live audience. And then these podcasts will be released. Like the interview with Maya is going to be released in the next week or less. So keep a look on sustainabilitynow.global for that to learn more about it. But our next guest is Judy Wicks. And this comes back around to what you were saying with the coronavirus, because Judy Wicks has been a champion of local economies for forever. And she was one of the first people in the Philadelphia area. She pioneered in the Philly area on the East Coast, the farm to table movement.
Ooh.
And she was a restaurateur. She's created a number of initiatives. I call her a one-woman revolution. But what she's doing now is championing local economies. And what I see about the coronavirus is that it is going to make it a requirement that we have sustainable, robust local economies, that we don't rely on externals for the integrity of our communities.
That is beautiful.
And what you were saying about inviting people to dinner, again, this is the movement from fast to slower, from disconnected to connected.
Yeah.
Right? So we are going to be relying more on each other. We're going to be able to connect more deeply and more intimately with each other. And I think that if there is a benefit to this, that certainly looks like there's that one of those
That's
benefits.
Gorgeous. Yes. Thank you. I think that paying attention to local, that's another thing we fiercely do, is buy local and know our local providers. And I think everybody needs that. Mira, it is always a joy to talk with you. And I know I could have coffee for 3-4 hours and we could chat. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and just being really cool and saying, well, we'll just talk until, the hour is up. And I want to say that you are the most wonderful activist to me. You do it with such love and kindness and awareness. And for me, that is the joy of talking to you today. And I just want to thank you for being with us and sharing so wonderfully. I have one last question. How can they get involved with you? What's the one, if they want to get involved with you, where do they go?
Well, if you're interested in sustainability, you can find our Facebook page, Sustainability Now. You can also go to our website, sustainabilitynow.global. I do coaching. I do high-level coaching for coaches, healers, teachers, people who've done lots of work. And it's a very small and intimate program, but I do have some spots left. So if you're interested in that, you can go to yourcoreconnection.com, and there's a place where you can download the ebook that we talked about.
Yeah, it's really good.
And thank you. And there's also a place where you can schedule a call with me. Now, if you want all those resources all in one place, you can text my name, Mira, M-I-R-A, to the phone number 64600. You'll get a link. And when you press that link, it'll give you access to my digital business card that has all my contact info.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, you guys. That was the Welcome Wednesday Guest Coffee Break Show. Thank you for joining us. I will see you next week where we're going to have a really great guest on. Mira, thank you so much. Mwah! Peace out, everybody.
Vickie, thank you.
Bye-bye.